Hey guys, this is Rick at Tasty Guitar. Today we're going to be breaking down one of the most important chord progressions in all of popular music, the 1-4 chord progression. We're going to be doing this with dominant chords, so we're talking about your 7ths, your 9ths, and your 13ths. We're going to be doing this in the key of G. In order to follow along with all these different chord voicings we're going to be using, you're definitely going to want to come by and get the free tab for this lesson at Tasty Guitar by signing up on the home page. Also, make sure you check the description below for information about membership at Tasty Guitar, where you get interactive Soundslice TAB, backing tracks, live workshops, feedback on your playing, a 6-month personal lesson plan, and a Zoom call with me. Tune up and let's get started. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get started here. The first change that we're going to break down here would be moving from this G7 chord to the C9 chord. But we're just going to play small chord fragments using the notes only on the D, G, and B string within these voicings. Also make sure that you know where the root is within the larger voicing so that you can move these to other keys later. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. That G7 to that C9. Again, these are the large chord shapes that you're taking these chord fragments out of. Again, it's not about the rhythm. You can play any kind of rhythmic figure you want, but memorize the chord voicings. Again, coming from the same chord voicings now, we're going to take the top 4 strings of these shapes. We go 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I'm barring that first finger across all the top 4 strings. Slightly different sound. We got the brightness of the high E string now. Next, we're going to be going from a G9 chord to that C9 chord. The G9 chord still has the root right down there on the low E string, but we're only going to play the middle 4 strings, so the notes on the A, D, G, and B strings, and not play the notes on the low E or high E for this particular example. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's your G9, moving to the middle 4 of the C9. Now we're going to use the same large chord shape. Now we're going to take the top 4 notes of each one of those chords. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be your G9 to your C9. Next, we're going to go back to some 7th chord shapes again. This time taking a G7 from this shape to this C7 shape, and we're just going to play the notes on the D, G, and B string. 2, 3, 4. It's your G7. You can slide into them for effect. Next, we're going to be going from a G13 voicing to that same C9 shape. Top 4 strings on each one of these voicings. Make sure you know where the root is though. Bar that first finger across all top 4 strings for that 13 chord. Now to a different G9 chord voicing to the C7 chord voicing. Really nice 9 chord sound there. Same chord shapes, but now we're only going to play the top 3 strings. A little bit lighter sounding. Moving up the neck a little bit now, we're going from this G7 chord voicing to this C9 chord voicing. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a G7 to a C9 for Really nice sound there. Make sure you know where the roots of these chords are. You got a root there, but also on the 3rd fret. For the C, there's your root. Next, we're going to stay on that same G7 chord, but now move to a C13 chord. G7, really nice 13 chord there. Root still down there on that 8th fret for the C. Same G7 chord for the next combo here. Going to only play the notes on the D, G, and B string right there. And then moving to this shape of a C7 chord with, again, that root at the 8th fret on the low E string. 2, 3, 4. Next, moving from a G9 to a C9. On the G9 chord, you are going to see this relative to your root on the high E string, go up a whole step, form this shape. That's the easiest way to see this. And then go into a C9 chord voicing here, and you're also seeing the root down there on the 8th fret on the low E string. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. G9, C9. Make sure you know where your roots are so you can move them to other keys later. Next, going from a G7 chord to a C9 chord. The G7 chord, you're going to see your root of G on the A string, go a whole step below to your flat 7, form the shape. The C9 chord, you are seeing your root on the low E string. 3, 4. So our G7, C9. Really nice sound having the flat 7 of the chord there on the bottom. Next, moving from a G13 to a C13. The G chord, we're still seeing our root there at the 10th fret on the A string, moving to the flat 7, the F note there, forming the shape. The C13, we're in the same spot almost, going to keep the pinky down, seeing the root on the low E string still. 3, 4. Really nice voicings for jazzy stuff because they're kind of dark sounding. Next, we're going to go from a G9 to a C9. Our G9 is just our standard 9 chord there at the 10th fret. And the C9 chord voicing is this one right here. We used it down earlier on G. Still seeing your root there at the 8th fret, but also the octave above. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Next, we're going to move from a G13 to a C7. The G13 is just the same shape as that 9 chord, but putting the pinky out on top. And the C7 is the shape we did earlier. Root right there on the D string, but also you can see it on the low E string. 3, 4. Next, moving from our G9 chord voicing here at the 12th to 15th fret, you're seeing your root right down there on the low E string, and then a C7 with the root on the A string right there. We're keeping the top note the same between these two chords, which is a really nice sound. Next, we're going to stay on the same G9 chord voicing and then move to your C9 right down there. Basic shape that is the standard shape for a 9 chord. 2, 3, 4. Alright guys, now I'm just going to improvise a little bit up the neck using some of these chord shapes and other things like 6 and 9 chord combos and fills to connect them. Here we go.